Hi guys, it's Samuel Larsen here, and in today's video we are going to figure out what is my favorite Google Analytics dashboard tool. So in essence, we're going to look at how we can use powerful segmentation data and figure out what kind of demographic combination works with what kind of traffic source. So this is a way for us to figure out weaknesses in our traffic. So perhaps we are paying for the wrong segments. Maybe we're even focusing on the wrong traffic acquisition method. So for example, Instagram for some reason is not working for our store. We can figure it out using this method. Now, what I'm going to show you is an e-commerce example. But this will work with other sites as well. So if you have a lead generation site, for example, you just need to assign value to your form submission, for example. And this way, you can actually calculate what kind of value each traffic source is bringing, what kind of segments are working for you. So, one thing to note also with e-commerce especially is that these kind of reports will only show up if you have e-commerce goal values set up. So make sure to have those. I think that should be a prerequisite no matter what you're doing in Google Analytics. But if you haven't already done that, make sure to do that. Now, there is this old adage where people say that half your marketing money is wasted, but you just don't know which half, right? But that really doesn't need to be the case anymore. Now, it's not a perfect method, and even with online, there is not a perfect way to attribute every single dollar to the exact method that went and got that purchase for you. There's different attribution methods, but for this I would just recommend that you use last click attribution. So that will be a method that will help you keep things simple. We're really looking for simplicity of data. It doesn't need to be 100% perfect. But the main idea here is that we want to look at which traffic sources and which segments are best to target. And this is really the whole idea behind testing campaigns, testing traffic sources, because testing doesn't need to mean losing money. Often it does in a very short term, but it is about smart experimentation. And the example I like to use is that if you had a chance to go back in your life and go over and make all the wrong decisions, eliminate those, and only keep the right ones, what kind of a person would you be? How much money would you have, etc. Right? You would be rich and happy, probably. And that is what we should do with our marketing campaigns, with testing traffic sources, even testing our products. But there is so much information available in Google Analytics that most people just use it very generally. So they look at the averages of the data, saying okay, my conversion rate is 0.5%, should be better. But how actionable is that? What does it tell you? Pretty much nothing. So that's why we need to be able to segment the data, bring in the traffic sources. And conversion optimization is not just about optimizing conversions on a page. Also analytics, understanding this side of things, understanding the customer and how the segments behave is just massively important. And customer acquisition is really on the heart of this all. Understanding this part. But let's jump into it. Here's an example. At this example, you can see very much like a dashboard you can easily build yourself from Google Analytics data. Notice here the different segments. So for example, we have 18 to 35, and we have compared to like how many have visited the landing page, how many have gone to the product page, etc. And from this data, we can see pretty much instantly what is wrong and what could be fixed. So it's a very informative way to look at the data. It's important to figure out how these segments work so that we can try to find out why some segments are not working and then take action on it. And this will answer all of your questions pretty much. Because oftentimes people who are not really that experienced with online marketing will go and ask rather innocent questions such as like, should I be doing SEO or social media marketing? Really, like the answer is go do both and see how it works. There's maybe some general principles that like apply, but the data is the final decider. Another question like would be like, is Facebook advertising profitable? Well, go find out. Then what is better, Instagram marketing or Google? Again, like you can find out from this kind of dashboard. What kind of segments would I need to target? Find out from this kind of dashboard. It's always like go find out. That's the answer. I don't have an opinion, and if somebody else has an opinion, they're probably, well, pretending to know. Or they probably think they know, but they don't really know. Because you can only know once you have tested it. Notice also how you can combine the segments here. So you can have SEO 1835, for example, and find out exactly how that converts for you. So this is a good way to find out if you want to niche, for example, then you could do accordingly. And most interesting part is of course your marketing campaigns that you run and the segmentation there, how is it performing. Now you could add another layer here by campaign if you have a lot of data, but almost nobody has enough data for that. Now last thing I need to say about these kind of graphs is make sure you do have enough data, because it's very easy to make conclusions based on data where you don't have enough purchases. So if you don't have at least couple hundred, 250 conversions per variation, just forget that segment and make it bigger. So for a lot of people it would be, for example, a male versus female, or then young versus old, something like this, something very broad, but broad segments will enable you to also do this double segmentation where you have SEO and age group, for example. Also, one last word of warning. If, for example, your site doesn't rank well, you might have skewed results because you will get more motivated buyers. You will get some repeated buyers that happen to search you again, and so on. So these buyers are expected to convert better. Also, you need to always analyze the data with this kind of critical eye. So if you're running massive Facebook campaigns, you probably can't expect them to convert quite as well as your small Instagram campaign, for example. So make sure that you have that objective eye there. What I like to do personally is I like to use multipliers. So for example, if we're running a massive Facebook campaign, I would just multiply the data by 0.8, for example, something that is predetermined before I look at the data, and then we will be able to make more educated decisions based on that. But that's it really for this week. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Cheers.